All right. Another type of function analysis type of question you're going to get is actually going to be kind of combining your first derivative and your second derivative analysis. So we're looking for intervals of which f is both increasing and concave down. So actually, I like to kind of divide this into a first derivative and second derivative analysis. So we're looking for f prime of x greater than 0, and then we're looking for f double prime of x less than 0. So let's actually kind of do a first derivative analysis first. So I'm just going to do f prime of x, so I get 4x cubed minus 36x. And I'm just going to set that equal to 0. So I'm going to pull out a 4x. So I'm going to get 4x equals to 0 and x equals to 9. And I'm going to have a first derivative sign chart. So I like having a first derivative sign chart. So I'm looking at my 0 and 9. And I'm just going to plug that into my first derivative and see, maybe I'll try like -1, 1, and 10. And I'm just going to go to my calculator, plug it into my first derivative. So let's see, I have 4 times -1 cubed minus 36 times -1. So that's a 32. So that part is actually increasing. So we are good below 0 so far. And then I'm going to go to, I'm going to try out 1. When I do that, I'm going to guess that that's going to be a negative number. And it is. We get -32. So this means that we're increasing, and then between 0 and 9, we are decreasing. And then I'm going to try 10. So I'm actually just going to try 10. And we get a huge positive number. So that's going to be increasing in that interval. All right, so then now we're going to actually look at the second derivative. And you really want to kind of just organize your calculations, when you're doing these, because this is going to be like the ultimate chutzpah of calculations. So the second derivative, so let's see, we did our first derivative analysis, and then our second derivative analysis. This will get a little easier. So f double prime of x is equal to 12x squared minus 36. So I'm going to pull out a 12. I get 12 times x squared minus 3. So I get x squared equals to 3, or x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. So now I'm going to make a second derivative sign chart. So I'm going to put a minus square root of 3 and a plus square root of 3. So maybe I'll try -2, 0, and 2 into my second derivative equation. So I'm going to write a second derivative equation. So I get a positive number for that. So that means concave up. I just like to write CU. And then I'm going to put in a 0. So that's a negative number. So that's concave down. And then I'm going to try 2. And I'm going to wager that that's a positive number. So I'm only looking between negative square root of 3 and square root of 3. And I'm looking for increasing. So that's I got concave up, concave down, and then this part is concave up. So I'm looking for increasing and concave down. So it turns out that below 0 is increasing. So the part that's beyond 0 to square root of 3, we're kind of going through that concave down, but we are decreasing. So you really need to kind of like use the 2 sign charts in these. So for the increasing piece, the lowest concave down value that we have is negative square root of 3. And we're going to 0. Because after 0, we start going into decreasing mode. So if you're able to put this problem together, you have nailed function analysis. And we'll just kind of go through the solution too. In the solution, they kind of do have like the 2 number lines here. And you can kind of see that the part that is both a positive first derivative and a concave down is ultimately where our solution is. And you can kind of see these sign charts, side by side. So our goal is a positive first derivative and a negative second derivative. So I'm looking for positive. And I'm just going to kind of use a different color. Maybe I'll do blue. So I'm looking for that negative second derivative. So where I'm kind of looking for is where it's both highlighted. So kind of in between that square root of 3, negative square root of 3 and 0 is where both are highlighted. So I think it's good to kind of look at those side by side. And with that, if you're able to do this type of example, you're going to be able to put it all together. I will say these take a little bit of time, so I'm probably only have you do about 2 check marks worth of this type of example. And with that, that concludes Skill 28.